That's right. We're talking about arrest records. And if you've never explored this niche list, I'm here to break it all down for you. I will take the fear of it. I will show you step by step what you need to do. And honestly, there's some of the most rewarding deals you'll ever do. I know what you're thinking. Oh my gosh, felons, jail. It's actually much simpler than that. I'm going to break it down. Once again, my name is Rick Ginn. Arrest record. Why did I get in wholesaling to deal with people that are arrested? Okay. So for you watching this right now, for you to get out of your jail, you are going to have to go out of your comfort zone. And what better way than to reach out to people that have been recently incarcerated and are going to go away for a while to find the best wholesale deal possible. In fact, I would rank arrest records right below probates as probably the most profitable deals I've ever done. Full disclosure, at first I did them by accident. And then once I identified how profitable they were, I went out and seeked on how I could actually find people that have been arrested, that need to sell their home, that are going away for a long time. It was a perfect match. So if you guys want to jump on the ride, let's do it. If you've never, ever even considered doing the arrest records, this is the live stream for you. You'll learn a lot. Guys, you're in 2024. You're going to have to find better ways than just looking for high equity sellers. So now this won't fill your entire pipeline, but I promise you, if you can do 2 or 3 deals from the arrest records in 1 year, I can almost assure you'll make close to 100 grand. So my average deal's around 30 grand on any type of arrest records deal I've done. Why? The motivation's through the roof. I don't even need to explain that. If I need to explain that, we need to revisit on why you're in wholesaling. So before I get into it, do me a favor. If you are brand new to wholesaling, you're like, Rick, what the heck is all of this? What are you talking about? I want you to go over to freewholesaling.com. This is a free course me and my sons created. It is from top to bottom, the most extensive, the most successful, the most used course out there on wholesaling. The key word here is wholesaling. I don't talk about all these little, what's the word? Distraction. Oh, you can do this. And you don't have to compete with wholesalers. Guys, wholesalers are the cream of the crop. They find the best deals. They have the highest skill sets when it comes to marketing and negotiating, and everybody else is on the outskirts trying to figure out what we do. So if you've made that commitment, go over to freewholesaling.com. Not only will I show you how to get your first deal, I'll show you how to get to your first $100,000. And guys, it is really not that hard. So let's jump in the arrest records. As I said, we're talking about arrest records. And when we talk about arrest records, what kind of list is this? Remember, what are we looking for? We are looking for the most motivated sellers in wholesaling, period. End of story. And when we talk about this, if you've ever met someone who's going away for 3, 5, 7 years to jail, 10 years, whatever it is, and they own a piece of real estate, what do they do? And guys, these are still human beings. People make mistakes. On what level they do, I'm not here to judge people. Honestly, it's none of my business. And I don't want you to make it your business. I want you to focus on helping people out. And if you understand how to help people out, this is an easy business. So we're going to go after the most motivated list possible. So why wouldn't arrest records be on there? And as I said, it is the second most profitable deals you can do. Now I'm going to give you the pros and cons. I'm not some slick sales guy who's going to teach you, oh, it's the most amazing thing. It's just going to be glorious. I'm going to give you the good and the bad. The good is they're extremely profitable. The good is they're highly motivated. The downside, I promise you, in this live stream, I'm going to dive into it for you. Now, what I love about this list, this is what I call a niche of a niche of a niche of a list. It is a very, very small list. In fact, in a given county, you might only have 5 to 9 leads in a month. That's what I average in my counties. Remember, I'm not looking to market that everyone's got arrested. You'll go broke doing that. People get arrested all the time. We're looking for particular types. So the first thing we have to do is we have to go to, where do we find them? You're going to go to the sheriff's office and you're going to go to your city police online arrest records. Now, here's the beauty of this list, guys. There's zero resistance on it. You're not going to get resistance on this list. You know why? Because it is public. So since we pay for most sheriff's department, police departments with our great hard-earned tax money, property taxes, all those beautiful taxes ad valorem that are added in onto it, they can't deny you this list. They are forced to do it. Now, I'm going to be honest with you, they manipulate these lists sometimes. I'll get into that later. But the first place I'm going to look is going to be at my sheriff's office. They're usually the biggest departments, and sometimes you'll have a county sheriff, and sometimes you have an etched out city police department. They're both equally effective. Usually the sheriff is much bigger, much more robust, and much easier to navigate their site. So if you want me to show you, I will show you basically a simple screen share. Let's see here. Let's see if we can share it here. So I'm going to show you on my screen right now. It basically shows you. So this is Indian River County. So whatever your county in there, just type it in there, Indian River County Sheriff. And all you got to do is type arrest records. That's it. And then you're going to go and pull and click these up. Now, because I'm on YouTube, I can't pull these public records and show them. Not that it's against the law. It's against YouTube policy. It's privacy and disclosure. But if you click this, you'll be able to look on the arrest records and find out. You can go deeper into the case report, and that's typically how you look at it. Now, let me get back here and see what I can show you and what I can't show you. Let me see if this one. And so just to give you an example, I'll jump over one county and show you. It pretty much works in every county. I mean, rarely do we get stumped to do this. So let me do one more screen share here. And let's do St. Lucie County. And so like right here, so they only keep the last 10 days of records, and they roll like every 2. You can click all archives and you click on there. Once again, I would love to go in detail with you, but I'm gonna have to teach you in theory on here because YouTube gets very upset when I share people's personal information. But by the way, this is all public records. So once again, you should have no issues getting that list. So let me jump back here. So I'm going to have to walk you through. Let's pretend you're looking at these arrest records. Now, if you've had challenges with probates, with code violations, the arrest records list is actually easy. And I'm going to give you the criteria right now so you know how to pull these lists. And if you want, I'll teach you how to easily teach your VA what to look for. Guys, people create entire courses on this. I promise you, someone's going to get a cute idea and go, hey, listen, I'm going to take Rick and Zach's stuff and I'm going to go create an arrest records course. Please don't buy it. You should be arrested for doing stuff like that. So here's what you're looking for. You ready? Now we get to play cop. So if you have law enforcement in your family, you'll understand this. If you need further explanation, let me know and I'll show you. Number one, it's got to be a felony. A misdemeanor is literally a waste of your time. Felonies are usually big crimes people have committed, and felony has a risk of jail time. Now, let me give you the basics of how people get arrested. Being in wholesaling for 21 plus years, I've dealt with my share of arrest. Honestly, it is the norm. Nothing shocks me in wholesaling. Remember, we are looking for people with problems. So why do you think people being arrested are any different? I am not above these people. I never pretend to be. I just want to help them out. And by the way, you can learn a lesson or two from people. People always have a story behind getting arrested. It's never ever anybody's fault, but they've always been set up. So the first time's a felony. So when someone gets arrested for a felony, it's their first offense. They usually sit in front of a judge and they're put on a very strict probation process. And basically a probation is like, listen, if you behave for the next 2 or 3 years and you don't commit any crimes, and you adhere, they got to go on the quarterly appointments, monthly appointments, and the sheriff's department has the right to do surprise inspections on them. And most of the time they can't be drinking, can't be doing drugs, and they've got to like keep a job. So probation has conditions. The reality is most of these people rarely ever meet the conditions. And if you understand that, you'll understand why I'm looking for felonies. So the felony, the first arrest, I don't put a lot of weight on that one. Now, the most common one, which you all are going to know, is most likely going to be a DUI. That's 80% of any type of arrest record I do in wholesaling. Why? It's just predominant. It's a society issue, and I'm not here to address it. I'm just saying you shouldn't be drinking while you're driving in the first place, so I don't believe people should have a valid excuse for it. But once they've committed that first felony, the ones that clean their act up and never go back, good. You'll never talk to them again, and hopefully they learn their lesson. But here's the reality of our world. Most people who commit DUIs will have 2 or 3 more. Now, DUIs are a little bit different in each state on how they do it. I don't understand all the laws, and I don't want to. And it's like alcohol is just a poison you put in your body anyway, so I don't know why people would do it. But the reality is when they break their probation or they get caught the second time, that's where the key comes in. And so what we want to look for here is multiple offenses. Why? Because when you commit a felony and you have multiple offenses, you are going away. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. On a DUI, on the second offense, people are looking for 3 months to up to 3 years. As I said, it's very different. When they get to the third offense, they're going away. And when I say they're going away, I believe it's a minimum 36 months. If I have any law enforcement people on it, they can share it on you. But like every time they get arrested for DUI, they're habitual offenders, which means they break their probation conditions. And basically the penalties get steeper and steeper to the point where it's not a financial thing. They have to put them in jail to try to teach them a lesson. Now, I'm not here to make judgment on the penal system. I just want to stay away from it other than doing a wholesaling deal. So we are looking for multiple offenses, and that's what you want when you do this. So felony, multiple offenses. So now let's break down, and it's kind of funny we have to do this, but like, why not? I'm just going to tell you how to do this. I'm not like, I have no course for this. If you want more information, freewholesaling.com, we sum this up very simply. So what are the most common arrests that we target to buy houses for wholesaling? It's real simple. I've already shared the first one, habitual DUIs. People keep repeating the same mistake over and over. And honestly, once you get caught 2 or 3 times, you probably need to go away. I'm sorry, because you don't learn the lesson, because I'm not a big fan of anybody drinking and driving. So people get caught, people do dumb things, especially when they're young. Honestly, a majority of people have a DUI. It's just very, very common. I've seen it in employers, employment, and the ones that learn it once, they never do it again. The ones that have to blow into the tube while they're getting in the car, that's the ones that I'm really targeting. Honestly, these are a majority of the cases. Now, it doesn't just stop there. I'm going to run through the other ones. And if this is not on the list, I strongly advise staying away from it. So anything that's of a child nature or anything like that, I just completely stay away from it. I don't want to deal with it. I don't want to do any of that. So theft is a huge one. I mean, it's much bigger than you actually think. You only need to steal like $300 of stuff to be put in jail. Depending on what state you're in, I think California, New York, you can steal anything you want. Nobody says a word, but that's another conversation. The other one is going to be battery. Once again, I want everybody to understand this. We are not here to judge people. I can't control what people do. All I can do is try to help them. Now, if you're going to pass judgment on what someone does before you buy their house, you're going to have a problem in wholesaling, because you will deal with very, very dirty landlords that aren't good to their tenants. You'll deal with people that were abusive in probate situations. It never stops. So why would you treat arrest records any different? In fact, it's kind of easier because you know what you're dealing up front. A lot of times when you go on your wholesaling appointments, you're dealing with some unscrupulous people and you guys don't even know it. And I get it. You're trying to focus on your wholesaling, and I want you to understand that. But I like arrest records because I know exactly who I'm dealing with. There is no mystery. And you know what? I'm here to tell you, most of these people are good people. They're not bad people. They're having a bad time in life. And if you understand the difference between a bad person and a person having a bad time in life, now you can have a bad time in life and be a bad person, but for the most part, I only work with people that want to work with me. And by the way, not everybody in the arrest record world not everyone who's been arrested wants to work with you. And I'm fine with doing that. So battery is a big one. Domestic abuse, I get it. I'm not a fan of it, but these people usually go away for significant time, especially for the multiple offense. So a lot of times they're looking 5 to 10 years when they do this. Keep in mind, guys, if you own a house and you're by yourself and you're going away to 5 to 10 years, they have to do something with the house, because the reality is they're not going to give it to their friends to manage, and someone's going to take over the house. And when they're incarcerated and locked away, you don't have a lot of options to do. It's a pain in the butt. You got to get other people to do it, and that creates a problem. And most people that are incarcerated don't understand how a power of attorney works. A lot of them don't have trusted family. And once again, that's where you and me, the wholesaler, come in to try to save the day with them. Now, you can't help everybody, guys. Now, the next one's going to freak you guys out a little bit, but it's the truth. We deal with a lot of fraud. A lot of financial crimes, because when you commit fraud, it turns into a felony quick. Now, I've never dealt with the real estate scam artists or anything like that. Obviously, stay away from those type of people, but these are people who commit financial crimes. I've dealt with people who've committed crimes against banks on getting loans and stuff like that. And when they fraudulent the documents, or people that have forged checks, anything like that, that is considered fraud. And fraud has very, very stiff penalties. And these people usually need financial help. They need to get their property sold. Because here's the reality: is most people that wind up getting arrested with real estate don't plan on it. Nobody goes, okay, I'm going to go away to jail for 3 to 5 years. And most of them fight it till the end when they realize um, they have a guilty verdict and the judge imposes a sentence. They have to make a decision. Now, here's the interesting part. I follow a lot of cases I've been involved with, of properties I've been buying. Um, I've had tenants that have been arrested, and I have to follow these cases. When the judge drops the gavel, depending on how they've taken bond, some of them have up to 30 to 90 days before they go to jail. And I'm going to be honest with you, that is the sweetest spot on the arrest records, because they have a pressing issue. They need to get it done. They don't have time to fully market the house. And honestly, most of them don't trust realtors. So this is where a wholesaler like us grubby wholesalers fit in perfect with people with arrest records, because you just got to be a regular guy, a regular gal, and just talk to them. So fraud's a big one. The second biggest one, the DUIs, which goes hand in hand, are probation violation. Let me repeat that: probation violation. And if you've never known somebody on probation or anything, um, everyone thinks, oh, they wear that monitor around their ankle. When you're wearing a monitor on your ankle, you've done something really bad. And by the way, I've bought a lot of houses with people with ankle monitors. And that's one of the other beauties of wholesalers. We can go to our sellers as opposed to a traditional person that's going to go to a title company or something like that. And you can do that. But basically, probate says, hey, if you follow these sets of rules for the next 2 to 3 years, whatever it is, and you check in with your probation officer and there is no violations, we will exonerate your sentence and let you go free of charge. And we'll waive some of the penalties. But if you violate that probate, there is going to be severe consequences. You're going to go straight to jail, and we're going to impose all the fines, and you're going to get a 5-year sentence. It's already set. So once they violate, I guess there's a simple ruling with a judge. Once again, I'm not in law enforcement, but I've watched it happen. So when they break the violations, and a lot of these violations, they have surprise inspections. The purpose of a probation is to help or rehabilitate someone and make sure they're going to follow the rules. So if you tell the judge, hey, I'll do all that, and you're going to do the opposite, you're going to wind up on my arrest record sheet, and I'm going to wind up giving you a call, and we're going to go through this. So now that we know the exact violations you're looking for, and you can refer back to this live stream. So I've pulled these records for myself, and I easily trained a VA. This is like no-brainer VA stuff that you can simply outsource. They can scrape the list for you, get a great, you can get a VA for $4 to $6 an hour in the Philippines, and you teach them exactly what I'm teaching you now. You just have to pick which counties you want to pull. Now, if you're doing this virtually, sky's the limit. If you want to do your local market, try to find every county around you, because remember, these arrest records, hopefully they're not too long, depending on what area you're in. So if you're in a bigger population, the good news is this is a much longer list. If you're in a small population, you could only have 1 or 2 people arrested on there. Plus, you get to find out what's going on in your community and who's breaking what. So somebody asked here is, what type of court, which court type do we search? You basically just look in your sheriff's department. You're not looking to go into the court records. You just want to search your sheriff or your local police department for arrest records. Now, there's some of you guys kick it up a notch. You have police scanners, and like, if you're really nosy, you want to find out what's going on. I'm not going to put any energy in that. You can list scanners. There's actually sites that will scrape this information and put it in all one spot for you. You can check those out. I wouldn't pay for it, because you can go straight to the arrest records and do it from there. So the next thing is, for this to be successful, for you to buy a house with someone who has an arrest and impending incarceration, it's got to be the long term. They got to be facing a long-term incarceration. Somebody going away for 3, 6 months, and even a year, most likely they're not going to sell their property. So you've got to figure out how many offenses how many felonies they've occurred, how many probations they violated. And then after a while, you'll start to figure it out. Now, you can search a database for anything. You can go to the official records. I like to keep this as simple as possible. I like to scrape the arrest records. Depending on where you are in the country, Sometimes they post them every 24 hours. Sometimes they wait up to 2 weeks to post them. Don't ask me why. Now, guys, I don't care about mug shots or anything like that. Don't waste your time doing that. Remember, this is just a piece of data and we're pulling it so we have a shot at a wholesale deal. Now, I'm going to give you a couple. Remember, I told you I'd tell you the cons of this, and most people will never tell you the cons of how arrest records work. And let me explain this to you, okay? Although they're great deals and they're very profitable and the motivation is high, the one thing that you are going to get a lot of, you're going to get drama. Sorry. People don't get arrested without having massive drama in their life. And the drama is they're just so in the moment and so enthralled on what they need to get done. That's how they wind up in these positions. Now, I'm not a psychologist. I'm not a behavioral therapist, but I am a wholesaler with 21 years. I've spent a lot of time with these types of people, and they're just regular people. Some make mistakes, but the problem, there are people that make the same mistakes over and over. It's really inexcusable, and that's why they wind up in these situations. So if you understand and know it, you are going to get drama. They like to talk a lot. So when I'm dealing with someone with arrest records, if they're open to selling me their property, you have to be a really good listener because most people won't listen to them anymore. In fact, they're so tired of it, they're going to put them in jail. So they don't have a lot of people to talk to. So you will be a temporary therapist in this. You'll be somewhat of a welfare worker and a psychologist, all three. Hey, welcome to wholesaling, guys. Welcome to my life. This is what I deal with. My first 7 years, I went through this on a daily basis, but I didn't care because my goal was so I could get financially free and, most important, the freedom of my time to spend with my family and my loved ones. I had to do what nobody else was willing to do. And this is what I did. So you're going to get drama. Don't come on the live here and go, oh my God, Rick, they're so dramatic. I'm telling you up front, the best way to deal with drama is just let them purge and go, man, I'm really sorry to hear that. That's for 20 minutes. That's usually what I get with arrest records. Oh, that sucked. And remember, there's always two sides of the story. You only hear them one. I'm not here to pass judgment. I got to assume you got arrested probably because you did something weird. So move on. Now, the next thing is I have a lot of ladies that do wholesaling. I've already told you, I believe ladies are much more powerful wholesalers than men. Why? Because they listen better. Their listening skills are like left field. Men, we like to talk over people. And most men, including me, we have to find a way to lose our ego. Because the more you put your ego out there, the less you're going to listen. And the biggest problem with it is the less you're going to learn. The less you're going to learn about your prospects. You definitely won't become a better wholesaler. So understanding that you have to do that. Now, for the ladies going out there, I don't want anyone to do something they're uncomfortable. In fact, if this freaks you out, there's a million other avenues you can do in wholesaling. My job here and Zach's job is to show you every possibility to find a motivated seller. And we have to go down to the nit and gritty niche list to make sure we are giving you as many options as possible. You see, a lot of the courses you buy is just, hey, spend $5,000, mail, give me $10,000, and then let's see if it works. The reality is you've got to learn how to be a great wholesaler. How do you learn? You have to cut your teeth on motivated sellers. And I find that most wholesaling courses don't teach you this fact. And that's why I'm teaching it right now. So if you're not comfortable, don't do this. The most important thing you got to understand, your safety is going to be first. In fact, I'm here to tell you, I've never had a problem with arrest records other than the drama. The drama is high and it's annoying. Now, I know what you're saying, Rick. Do I actually have to go to a jail cell and get something done? Occasionally you do, but I'm telling you, when you have to go to a jail facility just to get a signature, because that's all you're getting at that point, it is the safest environment you'll ever be in your life. Like, trust me. So I've only had to go on twice. I once went a signature, and once I had to meet with an inmate to get to have a discussion with them. Here's the really cool part: the safety's off the hook, and number two, a lot of times you only get like a 15-minute time window. So they got to get to the point and you got to get a decision out of them. Remember, you were there for a reason, to move your prospect, your client down the funnel to make a decision. You have to make progress. So if I'm going to go to jail and take that effort, I need to get a decision with them. So more important, if you ever have to go to a jail cell to get something signed, you need to do an upfront agreement with them right there. You have to make a decision. Otherwise, I'm not going to have this discussion with you, because I've had inmates who want you to visit them over and over just because they're lonely. I get it. But like, I'm not your friend. I'm just looking to buy your house. So once you understand, so safety first. So the techniques I'm going to teach you, if you're not comfortable, full disclosure, don't do it. Don't ever go to an arrest record, arrestees, what we call them. Don't go to their house at night. And if you're a lady, please bring a man. And honestly, if you're a man that's uncomfortable with it, then just don't do it or bring somebody else with you. Okay. And if you guys are giving this to employees, make sure you disclose what they're going to. Now, I've never had an issue with an arrestee because usually they're on very, very good behavior. Okay. And I'm not approaching them Saturday night at 9 o'clock during like peak party time. So we're going on like a Tuesday at 12 noon. So I just want to get that out there. Hopefully everybody understands. And I'm looking at your comments while you guys do this. So I appreciate it. Safety first. So what is the best way to connect with arrestees? So these are people who got arrested. So we're going to call them arrestees going on. There's a whole song about that, right? I don't know. That's my ADHD kicking in. So how are we going to contact them? It's real simple, guys. You basically, in my opinion, have three choices. Okay. You can cold call them, do manual texting. You don't need fancy texting for this. You do not need launch control to do this because they're a small list. So if you're using the Google Voice, perfect for doing your texting. It's really easy. Now, let me give you a little disclaimer. Arrestees love to text. In fact, they prefer it. So I would lean towards texting first, following up with a cold calling, as long as you can skip trace their phone number. Go to dmsack.com, show you how to do that. And then basically the third one is you can do reverse driving for dollars. Use your common sense. If you're not comfortable with it, especially if you're a lady, I don't want to put you in a position that makes you uncomfortable. But remember, you're reverse driving for dollars. You already know what their offenses are. You know all their information. You know everything about it. So you're going to have to make a choice. And remember, the purpose of that information is just to get data for a lead. We do not pass judgment. But just like you take your code violation list, your probate list, you have to classify them. So perfect example is code violation is I don't want to talk to every person that has a code violation. Why? Sometimes they just parked a car without a license plate. They painted their house the wrong color. Those people are a waste of time. The people who have high lawn, deferred maintenance, or the house looks like it's vacant, those are the ones I want to talk to. So make sure you filter your arrest records for the highest probability of a motivated seller. You can't just call everybody on the list. Trust me, you don't want to do it because they're all going to talk to you. So my favorite method is going to be the manual text. Why? Because it works really well. And most of them want to talk and communicate to you via text. But don't make the mistake and think you can just keep them on text. At some point, you are going to have to convert them over to the telephone. So the last part of this, and guys, this is recorded. This is live right now. So you can refer back to this. So if you want to learn how to do it yourself or you want to train a VA or an employee to do it, it's really simple. You don't have to spend a lot of effort pulling these records. Honestly, we get 2 or 3 leads a week in a good sized county. That's it. And sometimes we get 0, but that's fine when we get it. So it's easy. So when I'm finishing up the last 20 minutes of my day, I just take a shot at it. And my goal right here is if I just connect one of you with an arrest record arrestee and you get a $30,000, $40,000 deal off of it, done my job. And I'm happy with it. I'm telling you guys, I've had experience in this. I still do it to this day. It works. It's slow and methodical, a little bit like probates. And sometimes you do have to wait them out. A lot of times they will wait till their court case and finding out what the outcome is. And then once the final judgment's passed down, they're dead serious about getting their house sold. And remember, they don't have 3 to 6 months to list it with a realtor. A lot of time they only have weeks. And this is some of the sweetest deals you'll ever do. So, which leads me to the last thing, which is associated with all arrest records. What's the one thing that every person, I'll let you guys put it in the comments. What's the one thing when an arrestee gets arrested? How do they get out of jail? Somebody put it in the comments. How do you get out of jail when you get arrested? Do they just now, except New York and I think maybe California for the normal states, and I don't mean to pick on you if you're in those states, but some of your legislation's crazy. What do they do to get out of jail? It's perfect. So I'm gonna put there we go. Bail. And so if they know they got to post bail, how do they get out? Most people that get arrested don't have the money to post bail. Now, most bails are between, it's eerily similar to a wholesaler's deposit. Most bails are around $500. I only want you to do 100. And it can go up to millions of dollars. If you have a severe crime, it'll be $100,000. If it's like really bad, it's like $1 million. And if it's really, really bad, you keep repeating it, you don't get bond. So to do it, you have to, Edgar's right, you have to bond out. How do you bond out? You've got to go to a bail bondsman. Now, The reason I say this is I want you to understand it. The really cool thing on all the arrest records, one of the ways you can gauge people's motivation is look at the bond amount. 500 is usually the bare minimum. Okay. And most people can call mom and get $500. Say, mom, so you know that old adage like, mom, I need that bail money. I need that 500 bucks. So, maybe you guys can make a business out of that. But there already is a business called the bail bondsman. And the beauty about bail bondsmen is when the bails get up to like 10,000, between 10,000 and plus, most people don't have that money. So the problem is if you don't post your bail, which is money you set aside, it's like escrow money. And if you don't show up to court, you get an arrest warrant issued to you and they keep your money. Now, when you get in the bigger chunks around 10,000, more serious offenses, most people don't have it. So what do? They call mom, they call dad, they call Billy Bob, they call Sally Smith, and they go, listen, I need help. Now, Sally doesn't want to put up 10 grand. Nobody does. Now, a really rich person will just put the money up. We're not talking about super rich people here. We're talking about average blue collar workers. And for them to put up a $10,000 bond, you go to a bail bondsman. He sells you an insurance policy based on your risk and your previous arrest history. They will issue you basically an insurance policy and they'll guarantee your bond for a fee. That fee on average is about 10%. So mom goes, okay, I'll pay the $1,000, but you're going to have to pay me back. Oh yeah, mom, I'll do whatever I have to do. She puts up $1,000. And then basically what the bail bondsmen do to make sure everybody complies, if it's a little bit more risky and it's multiple offenses, if the amount gets higher, they'll actually put a lien on mom's house or grandma's house. And the reason why I tell you about bail bondsmen, like really rough crimes, I've seen them like 100,000 plus, they always have to put the house up for collateral because very few people have at that level. And then God forbid if so the fee, that 10% they pay, they never get it back. It's like if you get insurance on your car. If you pay 2,000 for the year, you don't get an accident. Hey, we keep your same thing. So a lot of times they can't afford it. So say they owed $5,000 for the premium on the bail bond. What they'll do is secure it against the house. They'll go down and record it. They make it really legal and tight with lawyers. And then they only have so much time to pay that back. And the reason is arrest records leads to bail bondsmen, which led me down to a journey. Bail bondsmen hold paper. And guess what? The bail bondsmen just want their money. So if mom has a house that's free and clear, say a $200,000 house, and she's got to come up with a $5,000, maybe they had a $50,000 bail. She comes up with five. She goes, listen, I give you 1,000. And the guy goes, listen, I'll put a lien on your house, but I'm in a first position. If you don't pay it, I'm going to foreclose. Now, the bail bondsman, here's a little key. They don't want to foreclose on it. They just want their money back. And they're going to get massive interest in everything else. And that's where you come in when the bail bondsman starts harassing grandma or ma and son's sitting in jail and he's going to be away for a while. A lot of times they need to sell their house and they didn't realize how much they put themselves in jeopardy because let's face it, we'll do anything to like save our children, save a loved one. And so people get in these predicaments all the time. And so I just want you to explore bail bondsmen. I've done entire videos on them. They're not the easiest people to work with. They're usually handed down generation to generation, but it is a phenomenal opportunity. And so look at the bond amount and you're going to see a correlation. 500 is the bare minimum. So if you see 1,000, like, so when you start seeing 2,500 and up, they're usually serious offenses. And you can easily correlate without a massive law enforcement education on the bail amount set because judges, I assume they have an amount based on the amount of offenses and the habitualness of the arrestee. But somebody wants to give me a lecture on like law enforcement, I would love, maybe one day we'll have to do an interview on that. But like, honestly, I'm looking for the data. I do not want to study the law. I do not want to become a bona fide police officer. I want nothing to do with like law enforcement. I just try to stay away from it, stay out of trouble. I want to help it out. So if there's opportunity in wholesaling, it's amazing. Now, I will tell you, bail bondsmen don't like vacant pieces of land. I've checked that out. They like houses where people are living in because they feel like there's huge buy-in. Because remember, if they have to hire an attorney to foreclose, it all costs money. So I've actually gone to bail bondsmen and bought their debt or basically bought the house to pay off their debt. And they love doing that. But they're really smart. They don't, by the way, they don't take a discount. Don't ever offer a bail bonds. If he's got a $10,000 fee that's owed to him and you offer $5,000, you are going to get kicked out of there so fast, you won't know what hit you. So whatever the fee is, as long as the equity is, and it's a great wholesaling deal, just let them know you can move forward with it. And a lot of times I will go to a bail bondsman. I'm doing a closing because the title company, we need to talk to this bail bondsman and we need to get a payoff. And that's where you kind of let them know. But they don't take discounts, but they do create a lot of issues within property. And it all results from somebody being arrested and it works its way backwards. So if you understand the link between somebody getting incarcerated, arrested, actually arrested, not incarcerated yet. And then the bail, then they got to post bond. They go to a bail bondsman and then eventually a bail bondsman, if they're not paid their fee, and grandma said, don't worry, I'll put it against my house, then they're going to go ahead and they're going to find a way to get that house done. Now, if you get really chummy with a bail bondsman, they can actually provide you leads to go, listen, we got these 6 houses we're getting ready to foreclose on. I go, listen, let me see if I can buy it. And if I can buy it, I'll get you paid back quick. And that's all I ever said to bail bondsmen. They're not easy. They're not people you cold call. You actually have to go and establish a relationship, and you're going to have to figure them out. They're tough people because being a bail bondsman, if anybody's on this live stream, one of the toughest jobs out there because you got to read people, you got to evaluate risk, and you got to decide who's worth putting up a bail bond for, and who do you not want to take that risk. Because the reality, if somebody doesn't show up to their court date, I mean, they are out. And so you see all these like Dog the Bounty Hunter and all that stuff. I don't think any of that stuff's real, but bail bondsmen, they're basically insurance salespeople. The sales job's not hard, but they do have to take risk because if they don't follow the terms of whatever the judge applies, then they actually have to. So if they have a $10,000 bond and the guy doesn't show up to court, they actually have to fund the $10,000. Now, I don't know the back end of it. I'm sure there's more to it, but the idea is they don't want that to happen. So their jobs, they got to go out and find them. They issue an arrest warrant, and usually the regular popo go out and get them. So I'm not, probably not the best word I could use there. But anyways, bail bondsmen, and that's perfect. So that's everything on arrest records, guys. It's really simple. You just go to your local sheriff's department or local police department in the city or the county. And then basically you're looking for habitual offenders. Now you can pull up the arrest records and easily scan the information. Remember, DUIs, habitual DUIs, battery, theft, probation violations. Connecting with them, text is preferred. Cold calling would be second. Reverse driving for dollars is okay. Just make sure you're safe and you're okay doing it. And I don't want anyone to ever feel they're at risk. Never do it at night. Do it in broad daylight. I prefer 2 people going, but I've never, ever had an issue with it because you know what you're walking into. And remember, we're not walking in the house. We're just knocking on the door or putting on the reverse driving for dollars with the sticky note avoids that huge confrontation. And I would put on, so on an arrest record, here's what I would do on the sticky note. Hey, I had a quick question about your house. Please text me. This is John. Boom. They love the text. I don't know why. It's just, they love the text. Every time they won't stop texting me, I go, at some point you have to convert them over. So I've even qualified them via text, but eventually you do have to talk to them. There's no way around it, especially on arrest record. So that is it, guys. So jump on the arrest records. It's simple. It's easy. It doesn't take a lot of energy. You just got to be consistent with it. Just like I tell you with probates, you have to consistently keep doing it. And what I like about arrest records, it's once you connect with them, I pretty much know the outcome of every case. It's just the timing. Sometimes I have to wait 6 months to a year. Sometimes I'm doing it in 30 days. So it's kind of like the same thing of probates, just a different type of problem. Guys, all we do is find and locate problems and solve them in real estate. That's all wholesaling is. The more motivated the seller or the house, the better the odds of you getting a deal. So why would arrest records be any different than me teaching you probates, code violations, any type of government list, tax delinquencies? And it's important we go over this. Me and Zach like to go over the fundamentals, okay? The people that are in the playoffs right now, college playoffs, which are already over, and in the NFL, they're the people that know how to tackle, block, do the same thing over and over, and they do it in different ways. It is no different. The more fancy I talk to you and start telling you about, you need to hit a $20 million target and all this stuff, most of you, I'm just trying to get you to your first deal. And then those of you got a couple deals on your belt, I'm just trying to get you that first 100 grand. And I promise you the light bulb will go off. But you've got to stick to the basics in wholesaling. For the last 5 years, there's been no basics at all. In fact, if you learned wholesaling the last 5 years, you probably learned it from a guru that probably is kind of gone MIA and they don't really do it anymore. They're waiting for the market to be perfect so they can go back and target you guys. And I don't want you to do that. I'd rather you flip houses than gurus flipping you. So that brings us back here to Flip with Rick. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to answer some questions. We're going to jump on some lives. And if you've got a pending problem or you need me to get inside your head, my job is to help people. Now, you can't come on here and complain because we just both sit here and stare at each other. If you've got to make progress or you're going to make an excuse. So if you're going to make an excuse, I'm just going to be honest with you. I'm probably not the guy to go to because I'm gonna toughen you up. And I'm like that uncle or that father you never had. I'm just going to tell you the truth. And that's the beauty of doing everything we do here with me and Zach is we have the ability to tell you the truth because I'm not hiding behind a paywall. In fact, I give you everything up here for free. And I don't know why more people don't do this. The more people I help, the more money I make. And that's just how life works. So my predominant income is not from flipping students and courses. In fact, I dread that. I don't like it because it's all theory and it doesn't work. I love working on deals with you, and I'm going to show you ways you can kind of work with me on that. So as I said, if you are brand new here, go over to freewholesaling.com. As I said, it is the best way to jump in this business and get started. And I promise you, I'm not going to hit you with a credit card. I do not have an upsell for you. I know it's shocking. I know it scares the crap out of a lot of people, but the reality of you guys have been hammered so hard the last 20 years in the wholesaling business. Me and Zach are on a movement to change this industry. And you guys are already seeing signs of other people kind of joining into it. I welcome it. God, do I welcome it because it needs to be done. Okay. You don't need to pay someone 5 or 10 grand to learn this business. It's a joke. And these people that are sticking to these old school theories, they are deeply entrenched and they're going to squeeze out every little best profit of any wholesaler who says, I need help. Oh, pay me 10 grand, I'll fix it. We don't need to do that. So go over to freewholesaling.com. It's 100% free. First deal to your first 100 grand. And let's do that. So I wanted to highlight a couple comments on here. So JP, the answer is yes. I would do them anywhere you are because of the motivation on the list. Nadar, the best way to start is freewholesaling.com, just like I said earlier. And let me just keep working through. I had a couple others here. So Stan's right on sentencing guidelines. Listen, guys, I don't want to get in the weeds. Just like I don't teach you to be a lawyer. I don't teach you to be a title company. I definitely don't want to teach you to be a bail bondsman. I don't want to teach you to be an arrest, basically a police officer, because their job's hard enough as it is. And by the way, anybody in law enforcement, my hat's off to you. In my opinion, one of the most brutal jobs you can do. It's tough. I have a lot of friends who are police officers. I have family that are in law enforcement. It is a brutal job, and I thank you every day for doing it. But it ain't for me. I don't want to be shot at. I don't want to be chased. And I'm at the age where I just don't want to sprint and chase people. And my kids are too old to do that. And yes, my son can beat me in a race. So for the longest time he couldn't, but now he kills me. So, okay.